Alright, we're back again. And quite a bit of work has been done, as you might notice. We've got an experienced Void Bastard here. Pretty near the end of the game. Almost all the toys unlocked. I just want to get a chance to show off a bit more stuff. Right now I want to make a Nebulator, which is our game's rocket launcher. Pretty early on you get a part that will let you locate other parts. So let's find out where that thing is. Up here. You also notice we are depth 4. Depth 5 is right below us, so we're pretty deep in the nebula. Things tend to get pretty crazy here. There's also a lot of moving debris. We've got the junk squid, who will eat locations it comes across. We got some tidy robots. These guys are from the latest DLC. And we'll see if we run into anything else on our way. There's some pirates. We really don't want to mess with them. They can board the same vessel you do and just make your life hell in general. So let's head up. We're gonna need to actually loot somewhere pretty soon. So might as well be here. We can at least show off some stuff. We're gonna grab the stapler. We got patience here, so we're probably gonna want an explosive weapon. And let's go with the old Cow Zapper. Cow Zapper is an upgrade to the shock prod weapon, which I recommend picking up very early in the game, as it allows you to deal with a lot of stuff that is going to be not in your wheelhouse for quite a while, such as turrets or screws or any enemy that you can't kill. Got a tidy robot here. I actually talk about these guys a bit later in the video. Due to some audio issues, I've had to re-record this particular part. We're going to shock him and move on. Patience are also a problem, mostly because there's a big mass of them. So shotguns work well against them, but they eat up a lot of your ammo. The best thing you can do is use explosives. Watcher there. Those will summon security bots, which are not something I want to deal with right now. Anyway, I wanted to talk about progression in roguelites. Permanent progression. So I'm tentatively saying that there are two kinds. There is pool progression, in which items or abilities are added to a pool that you can find in random runs. This is the stuff like in Isaac or Enter the Gungeon. And then the kind that Void Bastards has is character progression, meaning that your character's skills, possessions, etc. carry over from one character to the next. Your character will always have most of what the other character had. So in Void Bastards, that is weapons and armor stat upgrades from the stuff you created. You do lose ammo and get a new set of random ammo, but otherwise you keep all your stuff. And you see this kind of system in stuff like Everspace or Rogue Legacy. And it's sort of interesting in that it does a weird thing to the difficulty curve. Because in character progression, it becomes really about grinding. Unlike in, say, Enter the Gungeon, where a pool with good items will help you, there's still a lot of player skill, mostly focused toward player skill. But in Void Bastards, eventually you're just going to have so many upgrades that you'll have so much health, so much oxygen, so much armor. You'll be able to do pretty much anything. The game gets easier the longer it goes on. And I'm not so much of a fan of that, although I think at least Void Bastards takes away your ammo and some of your stuff, so when you die you have to start scavenging again to get back to the level you were kind of at last time. Some people would say this is the difference between a roguelike and a roguelite, although I don't really think that's the case. And I think it's interesting to try and define better language so we can classify these games a little bit easier. Roguelite versus roguelike is sort of a pointless argument, but the kinds of progression in these games is interesting to talk about. I think a third type of progression, world progression, such as shortcuts or things in the world that change permanently as you play the game, is also worth thinking about. Void Bastards kind of has a version of that in the Nebula. The further along in the story you get, the further you get to go deep into the Nebula. By the way, those bags of trash gave me nausea, which is this funky glowing effect. It makes everything psychedelic, first of all, but the main problem is that it makes your accuracy go way, way down. And there's an upgrade, I believe, that will sort of limit it, but you can also get rid of it by going to hazard stations on ships and paying to make it go away. Paying if you haven't used the first one for free, at least. Alright, I think that's about all I need to do here. Although I guess I can go grab that extra stuff. I also haven't really explained the Bushwhacker, which is the bomb I'm throwing around. It is a proximity mine, although you can shoot it to make it go off, which is useful because it will not go off on machines by default.
Oxygen levels critical.
Get out of here. That is not a bad haul. Alright, now let's move on to that tube. So occasionally you'll find stuff in space like food packs or wormholes that'll warp you to other areas. Once again, there's a pirate in the way, so I'm just gonna avoid that. And now let's get that tube. Alright, so there was a little problem with the audio, so I had to re-record some parts of the video. We're gonna start here. We're still trying to get the Phenom tube, but I'm out of some ammo I had before. So our loadout this time is gonna be the regulator, cluster frac, and let's mess around with the bouncer. I don't really like it that much, but we'll see if it works out. So it looks like we got a pretty small ship here. The power is off though. So that means I can't interact with anything until the power is back on. Thankfully the generator right over here. Let's try out the bouncer though. The bouncer will reflect bullets back. It's good if you're fighting things that do a lot of damage. And I suppose these guys. Hey, there's a tidy bot. We also have these on this ship now. So the thing about tidy bots, they are the new DLC edition, and they are the only enemy in the game that will attack your oxygen meter. And they're very good at it. Like I said, the cluster frac not that great. It's just a bunch of bombs. Oh, I don't have power on, so I can't get more O2. Alright, that's step one. Don't want the security bot coming. This is kind of why I always bring the prod along. Which, as it stands, I'm in a lot of trouble. Heidi bot is once again making my life miserable. Things have really gone poorly on this ship. There. Now that thing won't bother me when I get more air. So because I already used it, I have to pay to use it again.
Life support system is critical.
So these guys are interesting. You can bring them some normal scrap and they'll upgrade it, as long as you have the right type. For instance, I need plaids for that. Also, I'm very injured. I guess the bouncer has some use, but not quite as good as a stun gun. I think this might be it for me. Oh, I have a heart starter. That will bring you back to life at full health. Full oxygen, too. This is another new addition. This specific kind of ship is from the DLC, and they feature laundry mazes. At the end of the maze is a part, I believe. If you can figure out your way through. Get some cool pops. You can also pay to get another one, but I'm kind of short on cash right now. Here's another hazard. Sometimes things are just on fire. This is another one of those fun ones that there's really no way to upgrade your way out of it. You either avoid it or you take the damage. Let's see where that tube is. Oh, that's a long way away. I am getting pretty low on bullets. Like I said, pretty low on bullets. I'm thinking that I'm gonna have to grab this thing and get out of here. Well, then maybe not before I hit the engine room. Alright, so good news. We've got our tube. So we can now make the nebulator. Looks like we grabbed some other stuff too. This decreases nausea, which is not that big of a deal, but we can make it, so let's. And then next I think I want to find another tube so we can make a rebreather. That'll give me more oxygen in case I run into those tidy bots. But really what I want to do, I think, is before we finish up, show off what our nebulator can do. And this might be a great place to do it. So we're gonna need the nebulator. We haven't messed around with fast whackers. They are proximity mines, basically. And the cow zapper, just in case. Now I think this is actually gonna be a bad loadout for this ship, but I just want to blow stuff up. Got some fire here. So let's see how screws handle this guy. Pretty well. Like I said, it's not really economical to kill screws. These guys, though, takes care of them pretty good. Let's keep ourselves safe for the moment. The bad thing about the nebulator is you sacrifice a precision weapon. It seems a little overkill to carry a rocket launcher onto this ship. So I think I mentioned those things summon war bots or security bots depending on what level of the nebula you're on. And those are bad customers. Although if we could subvert one, we'd have a pretty strong ally. Speaking of subverting stuff, I think I'm gonna make a friend. Now hopefully that'll take care of those screws. Or just aim terribly. I'm gonna let them fight it out. The screw's gonna win. It'll buy me some time at least. Alright, let's grab some fuel and I think we can get out of here.
Oxygen at 50%.
You know what? I ain't afraid of security bot. Let him come.
Please remain calm. Thank you for your understanding.
Fun thing about this, they lock the doors on you. But yeah, Void Bastards is an alright game. Oh, these are patients. They are annoying to deal with, as they are made up of a bunch of different parts, so you usually spend a lot of ammo trying to kill them. Unless you have specific kinds of weapons that can deal area damage, like grenades or proximity mines. Like, this is a pretty good way to deal with them here. Looks we got another screw. You know what? I'm gonna take him out. Of course, you get nothing for doing so, other than the satisfaction. So as I was saying, Void Bastards is alright. It is pretty well designed. As I said before, it's progression or character progression based. So not too hard, more of a grindy experience. I'm not super into the looter shooters, but it's well made. Not my favorite, but pretty decent. And that's Void Bastards. See you next time.